Mountain bike. It all started on a mountain in California where technically nobody was supposed to be riding a bike. Marin County, 1970s. A bunch of lunatics took old balloon tire cruisers from the 1940s and started hurling them down Mount Tamalpais. They called the races repack because the downhill was so brutal it burned all the grease out of the coaster brakes, and they had to repack them with grease at the bottom. Repack. The name was literal. In 1981, Specialized launched the Stump Jumper, the first mass-produced mountain bike. And here's the part nobody tells you. The entire industry thought it was a fad. Today, it's one of the most influential bicycle categories on the planet. Road bike. Skinny tires, drop handlebars, and one obsession bordering on a sickness. Weight. The road bike was built to answer a single question. How do I get from point A to point B as fast as physics will allow? The first Tour de France was in 1903, and riders rode stages of over 250 miles. Through the night. No support. If your bike broke, you fixed it with your own two hands or you quit. True story. In 1913, Eugène Christophe snapped his fork descending the Pyrenees and had to weld it back together himself in a village forge. He welded it, and he still got penalized because a boy helped him work the bellows. These people were made of something else. BMX. Kids in California watched motocross on TV and wanted in. Problem was, they didn't have motorcycles. Early 1970s. The kids grabbed their bikes, hit the empty dirt lots, and started copying motocross jumps. The 1971 documentary On Any Sunday opens with exactly this: children ripping skids in the dirt pretending to be racers. The industry noticed, and an entire category was born. Small, tough, built for one thing: getting airborne. The detail that stings: a competition BMX bike often runs with no rear brake at all for some disciplines. You trust your legs. You brake with your body. City bike. This is the bike that does not care about you, your watts, or your Strava. Upright handlebars, seated posture, usually a basket up front. The blueprint is the Dutch Omafiets, literally grandma bike, designed so you could ride in a dress or a suit sitting straight up without breaking a sweat. In the Netherlands, there are more bikes than people. To put a number on it, over 22 million bikes for 17 million people. And the detail: a lot of them have a coaster brake. No lever. You brake by pedaling backwards, a system from 1898 that survived completely intact. For one reason, it simply never broke. E-bike. Everybody thinks the electric bike is a recent thing. They're off by more than 100 years. The first patent for a bicycle with an electric motor is from 1895. Ogden Bolton Jr., U.S. Patent 552, 271, granted December 31st, 1895. A motor built into the rear hub, fed by a lead-acid battery, in 1895. The problem? Batteries were heavy, weak, and died fast. The idea sat on a shelf for nearly a century, waiting for the technology to catch up. And it caught up. Today, a delivery e-bike covers more miles per day in a city than a car. The unexpected part: in Europe, by law, most e-bike motors cut out at 15.5 miles an hour, basically 16. It's not that the motor can't go faster, it's the law holding it back. Gravel bike. The bike that exists because cyclists got sick of having to choose road or mountain. And what about the dirt road in between? The one that's neither. The gravel bike solved that. Wider tire than a road bike, more stable geometry, and the ability to hit a rough back road and just keep going. It's the newest type on this list. It blew up in the 2010s. The Crown Jewel race, Unbound in Kansas, is over 200 miles of loose gravel in a single day. And here's the detail that defines the culture. In gravel, there's no elite pack escaping the amateurs. The winning pro and the last place weekend rider race the same course, the same day, in the same dust. Folding bike. Picture grabbing an entire bicycle and tucking it under your arm to step onto a train. The folding bike lives on one urban problem: where the hell do I put this? Andrew Ritchie designed the Brompton in 1975 in his bedroom in London, staring out at the Brompton Oratory. That's where the name came from. It folds at 3 points and shrinks to the size of a carry-on in seconds. Absurd detail: a properly folded Brompton takes up less space than some airline cabin bags. You carry the bike into the office, slide it under your desk, and nobody even notices it's there. Fixie, fixed gear. This bike won't let you stop pedaling. Literally cannot. Fixed gear, there's no freewheel. If the rear wheel is turning, the pedals are turning, always. It comes straight off the velodrome track, where brakes are banned for safety. It jumped to the street through New York bike messengers in the 80s, who wanted the fewest possible parts, less to steal, less to break. The detail that scares anyone coming off a normal bike: to brake, you resist the pedals with your legs against the motion. Beat the bike and you are mechanically the same thing. There's nowhere to hide. Tandem. 2 people, 1 bike, and a relationship tested in real time. The Tandem puts 2 riders in line, pedaling the same drivetrain, patented in the late 1800s. The one up front, the captain, controls steering and brakes. The one in back, the stoker, just pedals, blind, trusting completely in someone they can't see around. Counterintuitive detail. A tandem is faster than a single bike on the flats. You've got double the engine but almost the same wind resistance. That's why at the Paralympics, blind athletes race on tandems and hit speeds that'll scare you. Cargo bike. The question was simple. What if a bike could do the job of a van? The cargo bike stretches the frame or bolts a giant box up front to haul cargo, or kids. The Long John model showed up in Denmark in the 1930s for city deliveries. In Copenhagen today, there are entire families with no car. They take 2 or 3 kids to school inside a wooden box on the front of the bike. Number that lands. A modern electric cargo bike easily hauls 200 pounds of payload. And in city traffic, it delivers faster than a van because it doesn't get stuck and it parks anywhere. Recumbent. Now the weird part, a bike you ride lying down. On a recumbent, you sit leaned back, legs out front, like a lawn chair on wheels. It looks ridiculous, but it's the most aerodynamic, fastest form of bicycle that exists. And here's the story almost nobody knows. In 1933, a rider named Francis Four on a Moched Velocar recumbent shattered world records that had stood for 20 years. The reaction? The following year, in 1934, the Union Cycliste Internationale, the UCI, rewrote the official definition of a racing bicycle, and that rule change effectively shut recumbents out of UCI competition. Not because they were slow, because they were too fast. The fastest bike in the world got written out of the rulebook for winning, and it's because of that 1934 rule change that every racing bike still has the same shape today. Penny-Farthing, the giant wheel bike. And we've arrived at the grandmother of them all, the one with the huge front wheel and the tiny one in the back. The 1870s. Before the drive chain existed, the pedals were bolted directly to the front wheel. One turn of the pedals, one turn of the wheel. So the fix for going faster was brutally simple. Make the front wheel bigger and bigger. Some reached 5 feet across. To get on, you put a foot on a small step mounted above the rear wheel and climbed up while the bike rolled. And the detail that killed this bike, literally, you sat way up high, right over the front wheel. If you braked or hit a rock, you got catapulted headfirst into the ground from over 5 feet up. It had a name. Taking a header. Broken wrists, broken necks, broken lives. It was to fix exactly this that, in 1885, a bike appeared with 2 wheels the same size and a chain on the rear wheel. They called it the safety bicycle. And that safety bicycle from 1885 is, for all practical purposes, the direct ancestor of every other 11 bikes we just covered, including the mountain bike we started with. Next video, every part of a bicycle explained, starting with the one that decides your speed without you ever knowing it.